Hi, my name is Tiffany Montgomery. I'm the editor-in-chief and founder of Shop Eat Surf, and I'm here with SIA President Nick Sargent. Thanks so much for doing this, Nick. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here, and I always enjoy being on Shop Eat Surf, so thank you for the invite.
Yeah, thanks. I was going to say, I see you all the time on webinars, but I haven't, we haven't talked in a while, so it's great. So as you know, we're in the midst of the winter outdoor season. I know there's a lot of topics you cover, but to be honest, I really want to pick your brain and your expertise because you're talking to everyone and you really know what's happening. So, starting big picture, I'd love to know, like, this COVID period, right? The last almost 2 years. Do you think this is going to fundamentally change the winter outdoor industry, or is this like a blip? Like, what do you think? Are there going to be long-term impacts?
Absolutely. I think everyone is trying to figure out where they stand within this COVID environment that we're living with. It appeared that we were coming out of COVID in the spring, April, May, and then we had the Delta variant. Now we have the Omicron variant as well. So there's so much change that's happening within this industry, and more importantly, we're being forced to make these rapid changes. And then, whether it's, moving to digital platforms from a B2B or B2C platform, we are certainly evaluating supply chain and inventory management, as well as understanding, most importantly, how to meet the consumer where they are. We're seeing record sales. We're seeing consumers running to the store and buying as much outdoor product, not just winter, but we're all hearing about bikes and golf and tennis and watercraft and whatnot. And then you get into sledding, snowshoeing, Nordic, ski, snowboard, backcountry, and that's where we're seeing some of the largest growth in the last decade. So I think we're going to continue to see this fundamental change, but we are seeing coming out of Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, sales were down 1% or 2% year over year. So inflation is on the rise. There's a lot of things happening with government, and that translates to how individuals spend their dollars. We've got more cash on hand ever within banks and lenders and individuals, and so people are starting to think about, what does this look like for the future? But the one thing that is consistent is that people want to get outside. They want to participate, COVID or not. They want their exercise, they want their social space, and they want the gear to do it and do it well.
And when sales were down, it's sort of interesting because one question I have is, is it because maybe all the gear hasn't arrived in stores yet, right? And
Sure.
That gets us to supply chain. So how challenging has it been for the industry? I was at a sort of big snow retailer this weekend, and a major snowboard boot brand had only delivered like one style of snowboard boots so far, and it's like mid-December, right? So like, what are your members saying about that? How worried are they? Any concern that they'll miss the window?
Yeah, there's a lot of concern, and we are as passionate and as fortunate and as solid as we all are as an industry. We're very volatile, whether it's weather, lack of snow, rain, whether it's climate, whether it's supply chain. All of those variables affect our business, and so we have to plan, we have to forecast to meet the orders and meet the retailer when they place the order, and then when they expect delivery. But like other industries, medical, auto, technology, everyone's experiencing supply chain difficulties. We're not alone in this, so it's not like we're isolated. And more importantly, the consumer understands what the issues are, because they're having the same problems. Even, you know, overnight shipping doesn't really exist in today's environment. You know, the new overnight is what, 5-day ground. And, you know, the suppliers, the manufacturers, they are working as hard as they can to get that product to the retailer. They certainly want to get that product there now, if not earlier, to meet the demands of the holiday rush. So they're doing what they can. And as I said, you know, consumers know that there are delays, and consumers for the most part are being very patient. You know, and we've been suggesting to our suppliers, retailers, and the consumers that we work with to get their product as early as possible. And that's kind of the new norm. So depending on how you do your ordering as a supplier through a factory, how you do your delivery, you know, you're having to adjust that supply chain. Unlike some of our members who have their own manufacturing, and they control when the product is made, delivered, and, you know, and in some cases those members are, you know, I'm hearing 90% delivered, I'm hearing up to 95% delivered. And so that's, you know, those are the good sides of the story. But certainly, you know, the opposite side of that story are those brands who are waiting for their product, whether it be in port, still on the ship, or haven't left the factory yet.
And is there any like cash flow issues? Have you heard of any problems? Because they can't ship it, they can't send an invoice until they ship. And if they haven't been able to ship, is that hurting anybody at all? Is there any concerns about that?
There's a lot of concern for that. And, you know, we're experiencing anecdotally, you know, 9, 10, 11x times the normal shipping costs. So that eats directly into the supplier's margin. And so they have to plan for that. They've got to accommodate. That cost will get pushed through to the retailer, which then will push through to the consumer. So you could expect to pay somewhere between 10 to 20% more at the register than you're used to. But again, you know, as I mentioned earlier, that's not unique to our industry. You're seeing the same thing with other apparel goods, other technology. You know, certainly at the auto dealer, you know, everything's being marked up. So, you know, those costs do get pushed through to the consumer, but, you know, the planning that the supplier has to do to get that product to the retailer is a big expense, especially now where the retailer is starting to see next year's product right now and next month, and those orders for next year's product are going to be due, you know, January and February, which means the retailer needs some money to put down. So it's a cyclical cycle that we're finding ourselves in, and one, you know, it'll play itself out for certain, and it'll certainly play itself out with the consumer, you know, you and myself included. And I do believe it's going to take 3 to 4 cycles to get back to what we are used to.
Used to as far as delivery cadence.
Absolutely.
So that's 3 or 4 years.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So, you know, everything has been backed up. Everything has changed. And, you know, we as an industry and as consumers need to change those purchasing habits, you know, and we have to just exercise patience. No differently than we were a year ago, wondering what it was going to be like to go to a ski resort with social distancing, limited amounts of people, mask wearing. We survived it. We got through it. We'll get through this.
Yeah. Okay. So participation up, right? Crazy. Everyone has amazing numbers, including like the Vail pass sales are, you know, blowing out of the water. But do you think the industry as a whole, like your members, the suppliers, are they in a good place to take advantage of this increased interest and increased participation to kind of do a step up in the industry, do you think? And like, I know you're doing consumer data research, like anything interesting come out of that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of interesting nuggets, and I have some notes I'm going to read off of here. So if you see me wandering to the left here, there's a ton of interesting nuggets in here. So we produced the 2021 participation study in October, and you can find it on snowsports.org. And we're always looking at ways to look at the consumers, the participants. We're looking at ways to manipulate the data to really give us historical information, but also forward-looking information. And you just mentioned a really great comment that we're seeing through multi-mountain pass sales, Epic, Icon, Indy, upwards of 20% and even greater. I think Vail posted 47% increases. Was it earlier in the week or last week? I can't recall. But again, that's phenomenal for the industry, and it's phenomenal for Vail Resorts and getting access to the number of resorts that they have. Same with Alterra and down the line. The interesting thing that we're seeing most importantly is that while we're showing more people participating frequently than in previous years. And that might be perhaps due to the flexibility of remote working, remote school, whatever that setting is, it's benefiting us because it's giving us more access. We're seeing more traffic at Mountain Monday to Thursday than we've historically seen. Typically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are those bulk days. The one important part of this participation report and this nugget is that although the overall number of participants declined year over year, we are seeing more core riders and skiers visit resorts more frequently. So we're not seeing as many new participants. We're seeing core participants. And based on COVID, the biggest decline was in older participants, 65 years and older, who were quite possibly choosing to sit out the season in fear of catching COVID and the complexities that could happen here. As I said, we didn't see big gains in new participants in skiing and snowboarding. This tells us that as the winter outdoor industry, we need to continue to put more efforts into growing the winter outdoor participation. We need to pay greater attention to attracting a more diverse audience, especially given the latest census report that came out that the largest percentage of 18 years and younger were people of diversity and different color. So the non-white audience is starting to shrink. So we're following this very, very closely. We have a very detailed and inclusion initiative, which we launched 18 months ago. We've been focused on this for 2 years with the increased interest in inclusion. It only makes sense that we continue to evolve that platform for the winter outdoor industry, but also for our culture and our society. That's our biggest growth area for next generation participants. So we're just launching today the next generation participation study. Yet again, another report. And this is a brand new report for our industry that offers a detailed look at perceptions of the young and diverse non-participants in white outdoor sports. And again, as I said, which is a very untapped potential to grow participation. So we're looking at that. So just give you a couple of highlights of that report. The most common barriers to entry were cost, but beyond cost, it was injury and the concerns around that, or the lack of knowledge. Nearly 1 out of 5 non-participants said they simply have never even thought about snow sports. When we live in this space every day and we're so passionate about it, and we hear about, 1 out of 5 people are like, I'm not even thinking about it. There's a huge opportunity there. And there's also a concern too, right? And that is also indicating that the overall awareness might be an initial barrier to converting non-participants into participants. So again, continuing to raise that awareness for those that want to get into the sport or are not even thinking about the sport. So again, there's two different things, two different issues there. And then the last one is, non-participants themselves revealed that the more inclusive snow sports is to them, the more interested they'd be interested in trying or participating in snow sports because they feel like they could do it. And and the two easiest areas of entry are sledding and snowboarding. So we've pinpointed that.
Interesting. That's really interesting. But I have to say, like, are your members, is this something that they're focused on? I mean, I can understand that they would think, it's a good opportunity. Are they on board? I know they're so busy with so many other things. You know what I mean? So are you able to capture their attention to try to direct them in this area?
Fortunately, the ones that are very motivated and are looking forward and looking into their future and the crystal ball are paying attention to this and are looking at these opportunities very seriously. Those mid to smaller brands who are really trying to stay afloat because of supply chain or employees or just general COVID are probably paying less attention, not because they don't want to, it's just they've got other deeper issues that they're trying to figure out. But my advice, and the staff says this all the time when we talk to our members, if you're not using the data, your competitors are. If you're not using the data, use the data. If you don't know how to read it, we'll teach you how to read it. We've got great people on staff here that can help you understand how to use the data. If you're not looking outside your scope, we have to introduce this to you. Share these access points, and that's one of the reasons why SIA bought and created Snowbound, which is our consumer platform, which I think we'll talk about in a little while. But that's the sole vehicle to introduce new demographics to winter sports, never-evers to core, those that are aspiring to participate versus those who just aren't even thinking about it, as I mentioned earlier. So in a lot of cases, we have to do the hard work of introducing this consumer and this diverse group to our industry. But those that are already doing it, they're a couple steps ahead of us, and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Okay. D2C. I when I've talked to you before, and I might have read this wrong, but I felt that like maybe you were a little frustrated that some in the snow community, weren't developing up a robust enough D2C platform. Some are, some aren't. Right. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how important is it to your industry, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's important in every industry, not just this industry. And I use my kids as my litmus test and my radar. In my personal world, my kids buy everything online, and they're out there. They want instant gratification. They want free shipping, so on and so forth. Our culture has been developed over the last 10 years to really expect that. And, but most importantly, consumers expect it. And everyone has their own world at home and how you get things done. But generally speaking, you can buy a car. I bought my car direct from Ford.com, sight unseen. You can buy your house on Zillow. You can buy your jeans, Levi's.com. I mean, it's happening in every industry, and the consumer expects it. And we have to, as I said earlier, we have to meet the consumers where they want to be met. That being said, consumers want that availability everywhere. They want online, they want curbside, they want to pick it up, and be able to walk in the store. And again, I'm not saying that specialty is dead or wholesale is dead. There is a place for specialty and there's a place for wholesale, and there's a place for direct and wholesale to meet in the middle. We have to be supporting our retailers because they're the backbone of the industry, 100%. We have to be supporting suppliers, and we've got to be looking for new ways to meet the consumer. So, if you're not in the D2C space, you have to be. I had a member tell me recently, if you're not in the D2C space, you're not in business. Take that with a grain of salt. You have to work towards putting your brand out there, and you have to know what you're doing. You just can't open up your brand and say we're here. It doesn't work that way. You've got to do the research. You got to put the time in. You got to work with your retailers to understand how you support one another, and then you can be productive in that space. But last time we spoke, I may have come off as a little frustrated. It's just because you can get your groceries delivered to your home within 30 minutes, depending on your provider. Everything is happening, and this technology and this world is moving so fast. We cannot sit here and say we're different, because we're not. And but we have to develop and evolve as an industry and support one another to keep everyone afloat.
Right. I know. I mean, I talked to a ski person last year, I think, and I was shocked that they didn't do any D2C yet.
Yeah.
Because there is a way to do it that integrates with the retailers and supports each other, and to not do it is just a pretty big miss. I mean, sorry, my opinion, but
again, I mirror you on that opinion,
Yeah.
and I just want to make this last point. It's the brands and the retailers need to find ways to work together to meet these consumers' demands. And that's really, the platform where SIA is. We're not in the business of putting a retailer out of business or a supplier. We're here to help you, and we're building bridges, and we're creating opportunities for both the retailer and the supplier. All we want to do is introduce you to that consumer, because they're out there.
Yeah. Maybe a follow-up for us is in snowboarding, I know there's a lot of really good examples of how the snowboard companies and the retailers work together. Maybe we can do some case studies or something that
I'd love to.
show how it works. Yeah.
It's a fascinating conversation. And again, it only helps educate the community.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting this. I've got to move faster. I'm going too slow. I'm sorry. I got a message from Shannon behind the scenes here. Okay. The consumer facing shows. I mean, I unfortunately still call, I know it's a very faux pas to say it, but I still call OR winter, I still call it SIA in my head. You guys sold it, you moved away from B2B, and you've shifted to this consumer. Why did you guys make that move, and what can we expect?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we made that move. I mean, very obviously, very quickly. It was, our industry was constricting. It was shrinking, and we needed to create a more vibrant platform. And majority of our suppliers were operating in shoulder season product spaces, and it made sense that outdoor and winter come together. Case in point. But as we look forward, reflecting back on the last question, consumers are the answer, and that's where everybody wants to be. And so, and as I said, we're in the business of introducing consumers to our industry and giving the consumer the best way to experience winter, not just skiing and snowboarding, every aspect. In our next gen report, there are more people that don't know anything about fat tire biking or winter hiking, walking. Winter to them is just winter. Winter to us is our playground. We do everything outside. So we have to make that introduction to a new audience and meet the consumer where they want to be met. in the urban environments. And so anyway, where unfortunately we've had to postpone Snowbound due to COVID and Delta, but we're very aggressive in launching it, not only digitally and meeting consumers where they are every day, 365 days a year, but then also physically in the fall, where we'll kick off winter. So digitally, we're in partnership with Fuel TV. We have 11 episode series launching in January, where you can see your favorite content, and it's not just pure snow porn. It's episodic. It's great content. I've been reviewing it all week. We've got 9 shows in the can. We've got 2 more shows that we'll do in the next 2 weeks. So you'll see that in January. And we're also experimenting with other platforms. So we just did a collaboration with the network. If you're not familiar with it, it's a live online e-commerce platform that features exclusive product drops and allows viewers to watch shoppable content from the convenience of their smartphone. So we're meeting the consumer where they want to be met. We're showing them product that they're not normally going to see on their own. So the first collaboration we did was with 686. It was a 30-minute live show providing exclusive early access to its new Grateful Dead collection. And we're planning to do more of these opportunities to expose other product drops to a new audience as well. So again, the intention is to bring winter to the consumer, make that introduction from consumer to their favorite brands and their favorite retailers.
Okay, great. So we only have a few more minutes, and I know this is like quickly. What are you excited about? I know that's a big question, but if you can answer that shortly. But what are you worried about too?
Yeah, I'm worried about COVID, to be honest with you. I really was one of those that thought COVID was we were coming out of it in the spring, early summer. The Delta variant, I didn't really take as serious. I'm vaccinated like everyone. Most people are, and everyone should be. But now with the Omicron, I'm really concerned about what that's going to look like for our industry, not just here in the U.S. but globally. A lot of European countries are locking down, so I'm preparing for what the unexpected looks like, as is everyone. I'm really looking forward to us investing in welcoming a new and diverse consumer. That's going to rise all boats in that tide. I'm also really concerned about climate and the sustainability aspects of these mountain communities that we all live in. And we're getting a snowy day here today, which is great, but it was 50 degrees 2 weeks ago, and we should have had snow. I'm looking for the industry to invest in technology and look for ways to enhance their business, and I'm also looking for creating better ways to meet the consumer. I mean, there's a lot in front of us. There's a lot of opportunity if you're willing and able, and so I'm looking forward to helping our industry connect those touch points. And and then honestly, I'm looking forward to getting out. I haven't had a powder day yet, and I keep looking over here because I'm watching it snow. But I'm looking forward to a powder day, like everyone else. So looking forward to it.
Well, great. Well, thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
You as well.
Have a great time. Enjoy your powder day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you much. Talk soon.
Thank you. Okay, bye.